Okay, so first thing that we're going to do is make a bobblehead animation like the one that you see here. This is a bobblehead of me whenever, a picture of me whenever I was a little girl. So to make this, the first thing that you're going to have to do is take a photo of yourself using a green screen as a background. Okay, or you could really take a picture of anybody. I'm going to use for this example on here. It doesn't necessarily actually have to be of anybody with a green screen, but that would probably make it easier. I think I'm going to use this picture that I found on the internet of Lady Gaga. And I already have that saved into my photo library. And I'm going to go into the Superimpose app. Okay, so now that we're in the Superimpose app, we want to do a couple of different things. We're going to go into this button up here with these rectangles. I'm going to tap on that, and we're going to import a background, but actually we're going to go to where it says pick a color over here. So it says photos, clipboard, and pick a color. I'm going to tap on pick a color. So this is again for the background. It really doesn't matter what the background is. You just want to make it something that's very different from your picture so you can see that the background is really different. So I'm going to go with like this blue right here. And then once I've selected it with this little like bullseye, like little crosshairs guy down here and all these colors, then I'm going to touch on this check mark up here to hit accept. So that's my background. I'm then going to go back up to this same little guy up here, these rectangles, and I want to import a foreground. Notice that this option actually wasn't even there before. So now it's there. So you have three options: photos, whoops, cancel, photos, clip art, or clipboard, or pick a color. We're going to go into the photos this time, and I'm going to select that picture of Lady Gaga that I said that I wanted to use for my example here. Okay, so we have her photo on a blue background. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to delete the whole background. So we want it to just be an outline of her. Okay, so that's the first step. So what we're going to do is tap on mask down here. So I'm going to tap on that, and if you notice, as soon as I did that, all of these little options came up over here. Don't let them all overwhelm you. Just pick the one that's the third one down. 1, 2, 3, third box down. It looks like a magic wand. Okay, tap on it, and you can see it says threshold, and we want the middle one selected, smooth. Okay, so I want the threshold to be kind of low, and if it's like doing weird things whenever you try to do this, you might have to like lower it or increase the threshold a little bit, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. So I'm going to tap in the picture, and I'm just going to start like tapping on areas, okay? I don't want to do a whole bunch at once. I kind of want to take my time. So you can see I deleted that whole area of the ground. So I'm going to tap another area. I can do up here. I'm going to do this little area. I'm going to do this little section right here. I'm going to do that dude. I just tapped on him, right? I want to do this little segment, this little segment. Again, we don't want to try to do like big areas all at once. We want to kind of take it slow, step by step, because you might not even realize that you delete something that you actually want if you do too much at once. And again, if it's like, see, like that. So you can see that last one, I touched on one thing, and I'm just pulling in with 2 fingers on the iPad like this. You can see her where these stripes were black, now they're blue. We can just see the background. So to fix that, I'm going to go to the top here and do the back arrow. Okay, and you can see then they came back. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get too much more else gone without accidentally taking away things that I really want to keep. Maybe just like a couple more things I can tap on. But so you can see I just like kind of deleted part of her shoulder. I don't know how well you can see that, but I deleted part of her shoulder. I don't want to really do that. I want to make sure that that's there. So what we're going to do, we can hit the smart brush, and we can get rid of some of these things using the smart brush. Whoops. All right, so if you realize that you took an area away that you didn't really want to, I know that this seems crazy, but the eraser, and I'm going to change the brush size a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. The eraser, which you think would erase, which is the second one down, this one right here, you think that that would actually erase. It's actually going to put back in anything that you accidentally deleted. So I just added back in a whole little segment of her side that got deleted that I actually do want. This magic lasso, the top one, you can see there, I just touched it, said its name. We can go in and select areas. Oh, that didn't work how I wanted it to. This is the lasso that I was looking for. So this is what you should do. If you have like areas that you kind of want to get in kind of close, you just might want to select like the space between her side and her arm, and you want to get rid of all of that. You just have to make sure that you meet up with where you started, and everything inside of that space will get deleted. So let's see right here. I want to redraw that segment of her arm back in. You can use the little brush tool. The brush actually erases in this mask setting, and the eraser actually puts stuff back in. It's kind of weird. So this little thing, you can see that pops up. That's like a magnifier right there. If that really drives you crazy, I do believe you can shut that off. You can see I have it right now on round. We can just shut it off because for me, I think it's annoying. So I'm just going to shut it off. So I'm going to take some time and I'm going to get rid of everything else around Gaga that I don't want. I just want the outline of her. All right, so you can see I spent some time and I went in. I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit. I really got detailed. I used all those different tools to go in and erase the background and then re-put in some different areas that I accidentally got rid of that I wanted. And then before I was totally finished with this part, I went on the brush. I made my brush pretty big. You can see how big it is right there. That's like the size. See how tiny it can get, see how big it can get. And I went in and I double checked my background. So I'm gonna zoom back out. I don't wanna have any little weird spots of anything. So look at that huge brush. I don't wanna get too close to Lady Gaga on accident, but I'm gonna get all those little spots of different things that maybe accidentally got left behind. Okay, then when I'm all done with that, I'm gonna hit where it says home at the bottom here. And now we want to save it as a PNG. So a PNG is a type of image file. So there's like a JPEG, there's a PNG, and then you guys have probably heard of a GIF. Okay, so we are going to eventually be making GIFs, but we have to start this off right now, save it as a PNG, just like this mask. So what you're going to do for this is you're going to hit this guy right here. So it's a little box with the arrow kind of pointing off to the right. And so I'm going to touch on that, and then you can see it says right here, there's a little mask, and it says mask as PNG, okay? And notice that the foreground is selected right here, okay? So we want to save that, and it'll say saving, okay? So that's what you're going to do for this step. Okay, so remember we just saved that as a PNG, and I'm going to go into my photos, and look, this is what we had started with. And then we erased the background, saved it as a PNG, and here it is in my photo library. So you can see it looks like the background's white, but whenever we touch on it, oh no, it is coming up just white. Okay, but that's what we want. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're actually going to we're gonna take this one where we got rid of the background, we're gonna take it back into that Superimpose app. So let's see here, Superimpose app, open that up again. We're gonna go, we're going to import a foreground. We're going to leave the background blue just like this. We'll deal with the background later, but we're going to import a new foreground from the photo. Let's see, replace it. I guess it's kind of the same thing. Choose. Okay, there she is. There's Gaga. She's on top again. If that wasn't there for some reason, I guess we could have just kind of used that. But anyways, okay, so now what we're going to do is we are actually going to erase the head off of Lady Gaga. So we're going to erase the head, we're going to save it, then we're going to erase the body, and we're going to save them as two separate pieces. Then we can put them back together. And you'll see that a little bit later. Okay, so here I go. I am going to erase the head. I want to be really careful that I actually erase all of the hair with it too. So I'm gonna go ahead into the mask, and remember you want to use the paintbrush actually to erase. So you probably want to bring down that brush size if it was on really, really big from before. So I'm gonna bring it really small, and I am going to very, very carefully erase her head. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna save this again. So we're gonna go to home. Now that I got rid of her head, I'm gonna do the box with the arrow pointing to the right again. And I am going to do the foreground is selected. We're gonna save the mask as PNG again. Okay, all right, so let's double check that we saved that. Let's go back into our photo library, and there she is. Headless Gaga. All right, let's pop back over to the Superimpose app. Touch on those little rectangles up in the upper left-hand corner. And we're gonna import the foreground from the photos. We're gonna replace what's already there, and we're gonna go with the Gaga with the head now. Choose that. And then now we're gonna do the opposite. Now we're going to erase her body. So we're gonna click on mask down here, and remember you want to use the brush is actually what does the erasing. So we're gonna do the same thing that we just did with the head, but now with the body. Okay, when you're done with that, you are gonna do the same thing that we've been doing. Go ahead, hit back into home, go into the box with the arrow pointing to the right. Foreground is selected, mask as PNG. So now we have those things saved as two separate pieces, body and head. You can see them, they're the last two things on here, okay? Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the DoInk animation, which is this guy here with the little pink octopus. So I'm gonna open that up, and we want to make a new composition. So you can see there is a plus sign up here in the upper right hand corner, so I'm going to tap on that, and then it asks you what you want to do. New composition, drawing, or import a clip. We want to do new composition. Okay, so it takes you to this screen here. So from here we want to probably just start with a still background, and we can talk about getting fancier with other types of moving backgrounds like maybe you noticed in my example before. But I'm just going to start with a background, which was just an image that I had saved in my camera roll. So I just touched on this camera right here, and then I can go in my recently added, and I'm going to have my background just be this. I just found this picture of paint splatters on the internet, just saved it, saved that image to the iPad. Then I'm going to start bringing in the two different pieces of Lady Gaga. I'm going to bring in the body, just the body, that's this one here. Okay, and I know it looks black there, but that's the one you want. And then we're also going to third bring in just the head. Okay, so they're separate pieces. Even though they look like they fit together, you can see they're separate pieces. Okay, so we now want to resize them. So you can see that there are separate boxes. You have to select which item you're working with. So here I have the background selected. You can see that, and you can see it's filling up the entire workspace. Then I want the body to be selected, so you can see that, and I'm going to touch on one of these blue dots in the corner, and I'm going to resize it so that it fits. Whoops. Go back. And if you mess up, you can hit this back arrow and it'll pop you back a step. You can undo the last step. You can probably do it a few times if you messed up a few steps. So I'm gonna go on one of the corners and I'm just gonna kind of drag it in. Oh, did it again. Drag it in, make it a little bit smaller. I think I wanna go even smaller. Okay. And I do want to go a bit smaller than you might think because we want to make the head pretty big, because if you noticed ever on a bobblehead, the heads are quite large. So we want to make it look like it doesn't really fit on the body, because that's what bobbleheads look like. So now I selected the head. Now I want to resize that. Make it pretty big, right? Way too big for her body. And kind of position it on there where you think you want it to go. All right, I forgot to tell you a very important step in the previous video, in the previous segment. When you are resizing these things, you might notice that there's a green dot in the center of each of them. That green dot is an animation path, and right now we do not want to touch the green dot. So when you're resizing, make sure you just touch on those blue dots to resize, but leave that green dot alone, okay? Because we don't want to animate anything just yet. We're going to do that right now, though. So now that I have everything kind of positioned where I want it to be before I start animating, then I'm going to touch on this like little blue triangle that's pointing up, and we're going to reveal all of our different layers, okay? So you can see the background layer, body layer, head layer, okay? So I'm going to start with this one right here, and you can see it's like really short, 0 out of 30th seconds. We want to take this little orange triangle and we want to extend that to, let's do 4 seconds. Try to make it 4 seconds even. All right. So I'm not going to touch on the next one. I'm going to make it also 4 seconds. And then I'm going to do the third one. All right. So they are all 4 seconds long. Okay, so once you have that, now you want to, we're going to start animating the neck. So we want to start at start animating the head. So we want to select the head, okay? And we want to start at the beginning of the timeline. So you can see probably this red line right here. We want to move it over so it's right at the beginning. Okay, so we want to do probably 5 different positions for the head to really make it look like it's moving back and forth. Okay, so we're gonna do the first position is going to be a little bit forward. Okay, so from this point here, so you can see that like red line is lined up right at the beginning of the animation. So what we're going to do now is we are going to move down the timeline 1 second. So I'm going to kind of drag it over until it says 1 second right there. Okay. And then I'm going to touch on the diamond and the plus icon right here. So did you guys see that new little yellow diamond appeared right here at the 1 second mark, just on the head? We're just focusing on the head, okay? So here, we're gonna now move the position of the head slightly upward. So I'm gonna take 2 fingers, just kidding, 1 finger, and I'm just gonna slightly move that guy up. All right, so now our head's positioned slightly up. It was forward for the 0, slightly up for the 1. Maybe I even have it a little too far up. Maybe I'll put it back just a little bit. Okay, and we can even kind of see just the change between those two. And notice that that green dot isn't too far away from that gray dot. We don't want them to be too far away from one another. So we can even watch the animation so far, what we have. Right? You guys see it move just a little bit? Not too crazy. Just a little movement so far. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to move up to 2 seconds. I'm going to hit that same diamond with the plus sign. Oops, I am accidentally on her head though. Or on the background, I want to be on the head. So you can see we have 1, 2, now 3 diamonds now in the beginning of the head clip, the head layer. And I want to move it back. So now it's completely upright. Okay. Now I'm going to move the timeline ahead to 3 seconds. Okay, see there's the red timeline. On 3 seconds, I'm going to hit this again. Now I have another yellow diamond, and I'm going to rotate the head back. I'm going to make the head look like it's still connected to the body, just in a slightly different position. Okay, now I'm going to slide it over to the 4th one. And, oh, you know what? The 4th one, we actually want to go back. Towards the front. All right, so let's check it out. Okay, kind of bobbling a little bit weird, but each position is something that you can work with to get it to bobble exactly how you want, or maybe you like that it bobbles, something like that. Okay, so that's the main part of how to get it to move. Okay guys, so now that we have made your bobblehead move, we are now going to turn it into a GIF. And we're going to be using the 5 seconds GIF app to make that happen. So we're going to click back into the gallery right here, and you can see there's your little animation. We can even just play it right there. You can see it moving, you know, it just moves ever so slightly. That head is just bobbling, okay? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to share it. So let me take a step back. So from the gallery, you're going to slide that little guy over, and you have 3 options. Don't delete it. You don't need to duplicate it. We're just going to hit share. And we want to save it as I believe we want to save it as a video file. And we can do the biggest one, that's fine. So now it's compiling our video. I'll take a second to save, and then it will save it in the photo library. All right. Oh, whoops. So we want to save the video. Success! It was saved to the camera roll. So go in and check it out. All right, so here it is. It's 4 seconds long. We know that, right? Because we looked at that timeline and messed with each part of it. Now, the cool thing is that it moves, right? But it only moves for 4 seconds and it stops. Whereas if we make it into a GIF, it will move continuously forever. So let's go into the 5 seconds GIF app. So right here, I'm going to open that up. And you can see I have some projects already in there. We're going to add a new one. So I'm going to hit the plus sign. This plus sign is in the upper left-hand corner right there. And we're going to choose a video from our library. And it should be the most recent one down here at the bottom. So here it is. We can watch it. Right? And if you wanted to trim any part of it, you could. You would just like take the edge of this and like cut it off the beginning or the end. That's really the only function that you could do in this. And we have a whole other second that we could have added, but For this, we're just going to keep it at 4 seconds just for my little example. When I'm happy with it, I'm going to hit done, and it's going to convert it into that different type of file, that GIF file. And now it is going to be continuous. I can turn up the speed if I want, so Lady Gaga can really be rocking out here. And once I'm happy with speed, I kind of like that one a little bit faster. I am going to hit save. It's in red in the upper right hand corner here. So I'm going to save it. And now it's saved in the 5-second GIF library, but I'm going to hit this square with the up arrow. And I'm going to save it to the photo album. But notice there are different options. You want to save the photo album GIF. Remember, that's the GIF. So we're going to save it there. So it says save to photo album. Okay, here's the deal though. If you go back into the photo album, it looks still. See, if we open that up, it's not actually moving. But it is really a GIF image. Okay, I promise you. So here's how you can tell. You can, I don't know if these iPads have this functionality, but if you send it to somebody in a message, it will move in the text. So I'll let you guys airdrop these to your device, and I'll also put it in Google so that you can have them. So I'll just text that to somebody. And you can see once it got texted, now it's moving. So it is that GIF file, right? When it's in the photo library, it looks still, but really it's one of those. So now I'm sure you guys have seen these probably, you know, in your text in the library, they have these, but now you made your own. And that's it.